I believe it's about 2 days after I made the last video, and with the sun coming in, you can see that although it looks green and disgusting, it's actually a lot better than you might expect. You can see the wall of the pool, and then as you get down it has that angle piece, and then the bottom, and that's all green. That's where all that algae and stuff settles. Now you'll notice that the pool is quite full, and over here is the hose, and you'll notice it's on, because when I put it down over here it actually cleans up a little bit. You know, it starts moving the crap around. So we need to vacuum, and today I'm going to be manually vacuuming. So what we're going to do is take the hose that plugs onto its port there, and then that plugs onto the plate, which is right here, the other end, which then goes in the skimmer. Okay, now that we have everything connected, I have the vacuum in the pool already. You can take that off. I'm actually going to take the whole cover off like that and stick the whole plate in. Now what's going to happen is this hose is filled with air, so that's going to introduce a lot of air into the pump. So we'll keep that there, and I'm going to shut my solar off because that I don't want to be vacuuming with that on. If I can get that open, I'll shut that, and shortly you should be seeing and hearing air. There he goes. Now we gotta let this work out. And you gotta be careful, because if it empties the basket and the pump loses prime, then you got a problem. Because typically the plate in the skimmer is gonna pop up, and then you're back to square one again. Now you can fill the hose with water by submerging it or putting it on one of the return jets, but this generally does the trick, of course, depending on how long your vacuum hose is. So we're just going to leave this here to work its air out for a moment. Oh, still some more. Alright, there's going to be some pockets of air that'll work themselves out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut off the east skimmer, because I have it plugged into the west skimmer. So I want more suction out of the main drain and the west skimmer. I can shut the main drain as well, and I will ultimately do that. But the next thing we have to talk about before we actually vacuum is where you're going to vacuum to. What you're supposed to do is shut the pump off and turn it to waste, and vacuum to waste. And I'm actually going to be doing that. But before I do that, I'm actually going to just show you how the whole vacuum procedure works while it's on filtration. You don't really want to vacuum to the filter. If you do vacuum to the filter, it's going to clog up real quick. Now, if it's almost time for you to backwash the filter, then you might want to consider that, especially with how long it takes for the water to refill in the pool. Like I said, I've had this pool refilling all day, since, I don't know, 10 a.m. or so. Our hose is in. You can check it. It's heavy. It feels heavy. And that's it. And now, pretty much, all you're going to do is move the vacuum around very slowly, in a very methodical fashion, and I'll show you pretty much how it goes, and then I'm going to go ahead and vacuum some. Now also note the color of the water here and how much you can and can't see through here. When I'm done vacuuming, because of all the green stuff at the bottom, it's going to get kicked up and suspended in the water. The pool is going to again look like a pond or swamp, as bad as it is now, and that's okay, because the more waterborne, if you will, instead of airborne, the algae is, the better a chance it's going to get sucked up and skimmed, or through the main drain if you have one, and put through the filter and ultimately filtered out. Okay, we're ready to start vacuuming. Everything is connected and hooked up. You should at this point shut your pump off and turn it to waste. Now, of course, when you do that, it's going to start pumping all this water out of your pool and you're going to lose it. I don't think the camera's going to pick it up, but if you look at the bottom, especially with the sun hitting, you see there's now a blue streak instead of a green streak. I'm now going to pull the vacuum back in the same area that I just vacuumed. Now, there's many different ways you can do this. I'm showing you the way I feel most comfortable with, which is to basically go slow and steady, and that's what wins the race. You'll notice how slowly I'm actually pushing the vacuum. When you push the vacuum, the brushes on it are going to kick the stuff up. We're trying to minimize that and have it all get sucked up and expelled out the waste. So now I pull it back slowly over the same line I just made, and we'll do one more. Periodically, it's a good idea to stop, shut your pump off, and remove the plate from the skimmer and check to see how many leaves and stuff you pulled up in there, because you may have clogged it. And if you do, you're not going to have very much suction and you're going to be just wasting water, especially if you have another thing open like the main drain. So now you can probably see a very marked difference. The green here and the blue there. It's all because it settles. The rest is particulate matter that will be filtered out in time. Like I said, this year was an absolute disaster for pools in the area because of the weather, and as such, this is what we're left with. I'm vacuuming this manually. I would normally put Robot in and let him do all the work for me, but I'm doing this manually because I'm trying to minimize the amount that's getting kicked up. And now I'm going to go and actually switch it to waste and start vacuuming to get this stuff just out of here permanently. You'll notice I only have the one skimmer on that I have the vacuum plugged into, and the pump is making noises and it's just not good. Shut it off. See all that green there? This is all going to waste. The problem is down at this end, there seems to be a lot of leaves in here, and it's quick, and I'll show you what happens. You'll notice the water is certainly down from where I started earlier. And now, if I pull the plate out, see all that? And if I reach in and pull out the basket, completely filled with leaves. Empty that out, slam it back together, turn the pump back on, and keep going. Really helpful to have two people if you can. Look at how green. Terrible. You can hear the pump having trouble again. There's just an abundance of leaves, so we got to stop again and clean that out. The water is certainly murkier and greener. This was where the water hose is, but you can probably see now, obviously the water isn't clear enough to see everything, but you can see that a huge dent has been made in this over here, as well as over here with the green and more blue. And the cloudiness again will be filtered out in time, but it looks like we got a full basket of leaves. Once again. I don't know if you can tell, but the water is starting to move in there. And you can most certainly see the water moving here. Now let's watch the sight glass for a while. will be turning green, and a lot greener. There you go. As you get into the more nitty-gritty of the pool, if you will. This is doing a much more effective job than any filter could ever provide. And while it is a huge waste of water, it's also doing a huge service to the pool as far as cleaning it. Look at that. There's no way that you can filter out that kind of stuff. It would just take forever. And you can see now that it's not as bad. And then as it hits a more disgusting part again, it'll continue and get greener again. Alright, at this point I'm pretty much done manually vacuuming. So we'll shut off the pump. I'm going to put this back to filtration. There we are. Take the vacuum plate out, and I will clean out this basket one more time. More good stuff, as you can see. More delicious leaves. Let me get that cleaned out. Come back here and turn our other skimmer back on, and the main drain back on. And there we are, back in filtration mode. We'll let out any excess air. And that'll be coming up shortly. So here's what we're left with. Dark on the wall there, lighter. I don't know if the camera makes out the variegations in the bottom. Some more dark stuff here. I did this area here that was not as, this isn't as deep as the rest. That's more blue now. And the water is looking not bad. I vacuumed the steps also while I had it. So that sucked up a lot there. Some twigs and other things that will make their way out. Over here was really dark. There's still some dark stuff here. So manually vacuuming made a huge difference, but take a look at the water level. That's a lot of water. This has been running since about 10 a.m. and it is now 5:30 p.m. So it's been running for 7.5 hours. And that's all I got, was maybe a half hour worth of vacuum time. But I'm just going to leave the hose on because, you know, like I said, it's only 5:30 and gets dark around 9, so I'll get 4 more hours of water in, and then I'll be able to vacuum again doing the same procedure tomorrow. And the only reason this is possible is because the planet has decided to cooperate for a change. It's been nice weather today. Yesterday was rainy and awful once again, but today was nice. So nice, in fact, that yes, I still have to mow, but I did do the weed whacking along the fence. And tomorrow I'm going to mow. I like to spread these things out, so this way this gives the weed whacked stuff a chance to dry out and the mower will suck it up easier. Now that your manual vacuuming is done, this would also be an ideal opportunity after sucking up that amount of leaves and junk and green stuff and who knows what else. If I can loosen this, which I might need something for, there we are, to check the basket of your pump. How we doing? Yep, that needs to be cleaned out as well. Okay, we're rolling now. Everything is doing its thing. You can see the amount of water that I've lost out of the pool, but it's only time. It'll refill and then I get to do it again. And I think probably 1, maybe 2 more manual vacuums and I'll be able to drop Robot in and have him do some more cleanup for me Meanwhile, the filter is going to have to just take care of the rest here. And it's not looking anywhere near as bad as it did. But still not quite close to being ready. We're working on it. Hang in there. And stay tuned for the next part, whatever that may be.